All right, everybody, welcome in. It's Jeff Rich live from Phoenix, matinee edition here on a Tuesday afternoon. Forgive my raspy voice here this afternoon. I was in Arlington, Texas over the weekend watching the final chapter of Cleveland Indians baseball, which began in 1915. They went through 4 name changes, and they landed somehow on the fucking Cleveland Guardians, but we don't have to worry about that until March 31st of next year. Right now, we're in the present first show of October here on CentralCityRadio.com live. Again, I mentioned I was a fan first. I got to remember when I got to come on this microphone that I got to protect these vocal cords here, but I was a fan first and a radio guy second. And speaking of fans, from 1580, The Fanatic, Helly and Jacobs, we've got Bruce Jacobs with us.
Whoa. It's Jacobs and Helly. Get it correct.
Jacobs and
I can't let Helly ever get top billing over me, man. But go ahead, continue. I'll show
right on. Yeah, so you got the former ball player.
Former Cowboy, Dale Hellestrae, 17 years in the NFL, 12 with the Cowboys, has the wounds to prove he did the battle. You know, good partner, a lot of fun. Just have a lot of fun every day.
So what the hell have you been doing?
Having fun.
Right.
Lying low, just chilling. Happy to be doing sports again after, a number of years of doing a different kind of radio. I wore this hat in your honor. I don't want to fool anybody. I'm not an Indians fan, but my man here is. And I don't know why I had this cap when I was looking through my caps this morning. You know, the easy go-to is the Mets. But, no thanks. So I grabbed this one in your honor. I want you to know that.
I definitely do appreciate that. It's been a few years since they've last worn the emblem anywhere on their uniform. But, and it's the typical story with that. And we've got Cardinals to get to. We've got ASU to get to. I didn't brief you on this, but, we're going to talk a little bit about DeAndre Ayton because supposedly Sarver doesn't want to throw the max money at him. And the baseball season is over. There was not a game 163 or a 164. And I got to tell you, when I don't have a dog in the fight, Bruce, I root for the chaos. I was rooting for the scenario that put Toronto, Seattle, the Yankees, and the Red Sox all right there, having to play tiebreakers on Monday and Tuesday, having to push back the actual wild card game for that sake. And then Sunday came up, and I don't want to say it was chalk, but it was pretty much chalk with the Yankees and Red Sox landing those final 2 spots.
Listen, I don't have a dog per se as a Met fan and somebody who likes, roots for the Diamondbacks, but I do have a dog to kick, and that would be the Yankees, because anything listen, I hate the Yankees. They're my second least favorite team in sports, next to the Miami Dolphins. So, and I think I'm going to root for the Milwaukee Brewers this go around. I'm particularly interested, and I really think they have a good shot to win it all this year. And who knows, right? We've gone from Boston being the city of champions to Tampa. Why not Milwaukee? They got the NBA championship.
Oh, that's right, they did.
So they have a good team, and who doesn't root for Craig Counsell? You know what I'm saying? The best line I ever heard about Craig Counsell, Tim McCarver said this. Remember Craig Counsell? He had that weird batting stance.
Of course.
He said the dude looks more like a chimney sweeper than he does a baseball player. And it's true. I mean, the guy was thinner than I am and had I used to say to him, how does he get the bat down? This is not a big man. But, hey, I think I'm going to root for the Brewers.
He played for a couple of teams that won the World Series about 10 minutes after they.
That's right.
After they began to exist.
That's right.
He's the one that crosses the plate when Renteria knocks him in.
That's right. A lot of people don't know. He was a Rocky. And he got traded to the Marlins halfway through. And a lot of people were like, who's his second baseman? Who's this guy? You're going to start him at second base for this for this very good Florida team, Miami, whatever they were called at the time. And then, we got him here. And, he's just, listen, the guy's a great manager. He was a good baseball player. He's just a solid guy. Easy guy to root for, And I don't root for the American League, sorry. Generally speaking, I root for the National League because I like it better.
Favorite team in the American League is whoever's playing the Yankees, I would assume.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I really don't have any. I mean, I'm digging the White Sox, to be honest with you. I'm digging the White Sox. Man, they got a lot of good young players. I'm digging the White Sox, but overall, I'll usually root for the National League.
Okay, I had a lot of interest in the Mets. I'm primarily a Cubs fan in the National League, but I had WOR growing up outside of Cleveland, Ohio. They didn't even put it but 60 Indians.
You rooted for the Indians to beat the Cubs, though, right? You didn't root for the Cubs.
Absolutely.
Okay, because I know you're Cleveland.
Well, and I am married to a Cubs fan.
Oh.
So,
hey, as a guy who now fully has embraced, I used to like, now I really love, to be honest with you, ASU. My wife is a U of A, and my stepson, who's the most into college sports, loves U of A. So I feel you on that, man. It takes a courageous man not to drop your team to suck up to your wife. So good for you.
Well, I'm a convert on the U of A ASU. I grew up, I remember the Kenny Lofton Final Four team back in like 87 or 88.
Yeah.
And I rooted for Lute for a long time because ASU was always on probation. The Hedrick Smith and all that crap with Frieder.
I remember covering that stuff. Yeah, the point shaving and all. Yeah. Listen, I would describe myself as a fair but Kool-Aid drinking ASU guy now. I truly love their basketball coach, and I love Herm. And, I'm real happy with their success right now.
Do you love Bobby because he's not Herb Sendek, or do you love Bobby in his own right?
Well, it has nothing to do with Herb Sendback, okay, as I used to call him, all right? No, I love Bobby because he's accomplished. I think he's a great college coach. Can he tone it down a little bit, some of the antics? Sure, but so could I. I think he's an excellent recruiter. I think he's a big name for ASU. I think he's been rather successful so far, considering what ASU usually gives you. And I like him he's from New Jersey. Unfortunately, he's a Yankee fan and a Cowboy fan, as I've come to find out. But no, I like his accent. I think it's kind of cool that a New Yorker is successful in the desert. There's that. And, he's Bobby Hurley, man. I grew up like everybody else hating the guy. But, no, I dig him as a coach.
There's just so many guys from Duke. Cherokee Parks, Christian Laettner, Singer.
They all got that punchable face, too. You ever notice that? They all got that punchable face, man. Even Grant Hill a little. Just a little. No, maybe not Grant Hill. He's got a beautiful face. But all of them. They got this. Who's the kid that plays... oh, my goodness. Plays for Memphis now. He was drafted from Duke. Very punchable face. The kid who used to always trip everybody.
Oh, Grayson Allen.
Who?
Most punchable.
Yeah. Oh,
the guy looks like Ted Cruz, right?
Very punchable face. It looks like Ted Cruz, the guy who likes to trip people, right? Very punchable face. Yeah, they grow great basketball players and very punchable faces.
Does that program survive the afterlife of Mike Krzyzewski?
We'll see. North Carolina survived. Now, look, this guy is not Roy Williams, but he's not chopped liver either. We'll see. We'll see.
Well, I think there was a void from Dean, through Doherty and, before they got to Roy Williams, but they brought Roy home.
Listen, Duke is not what they were. They recruit now the transfer portal. They recruit the one and dones. There's questions about the recruitment of Zion Williamson, if you're Krzyzewski, you got the media in your back pocket, so you don't have to worry about facing any scrutiny, unlike Sean Miller, for example, who, had the screws put to him. I'm not saying that he didn't deserve inevitably what he got. That's a matter of debate. I wouldn't have fired him, but that's me. Not until, to me, and I know it's a dying art in this country, you're innocent until proven guilty. Now, unfortunately, now you're innocent until proven guilty, and then you're still guilty. Excuse me, you're guilty until proven innocent, and then you're guilty anyway because you were accused. So no matter what, you're screwed. Either way. But we'll see. I think Duke is... Krzyzewski's going to be involved with the program, so it's not like he's packing up and leaving. They'll be successful.
How much longer do you give Urban Meyer in Jacksonville?
Well, there's stories out today that, the buzzards are circling.
Is this Larry Eustace all over again? Is this
good example?
Mike Price in Tuscaloosa.
It's rolling, baby. I'll never forget that line. It's one of the great lines of all time. I'm going to be very honest. I absolutely detest Urban Meyer, okay? And I absolutely will defend him to this degree. It ain't none of my damn business, man. If he wants to go around grabbing ass and playing with 20-year-olds, okay, he looks like a fool. He's embarrassed himself and his family. He has no respect for his family. You don't do that, okay? You want to do that, you go somewhere where you make sure there's not a damn telephone with a camera hanging around.
It's a hard place to find in today's world.
Yeah. Hey, Not always, my friend. Let me show you. I know you won't believe me, but I do.
Got the flip phone.
I absolutely. It does have a camera, but the resolution sucks. Okay, so don't worry. I won't be taking any photos. Listen, I can't stand Urban Meyer. I think he's a sludge bag. Okay, I think he's a bad dude. But I'm not firing him for this, and I don't want him to get fired. I want him to get fired for failing, and he's going to fail. So this to me. This smacks of, and we're seeing it more and more, and it's more pervasive, and it really does not speak well for where we are and where we're headed. And I've come up against this, where, you say something, you do something, and you find a lot of the pushback, the cancel culture, or as I call them, the cancel cretin culture. Most of them don't even fucking know what's going on. They just want to belong to something because they're lifetime losers. They belong to nothing. They hate themselves, for heaven's sakes. So now it's a chance to gang up and be a part of something and try to get rid of this guy. If I had to guess, I would say he will not get fired over this. I will say he will not get. It would be tremendously hypocritical. Look, I'm not here to infidelity is none of my damn business, okay? It's just none of our business. It's not in my opinion, it's not your business. It's not my business, not Julie. It's nobody's business. Now, you could say, well, he made it their business by being out in public. Yeah, but what the penalty will be taken care of by his family. I mean, I think the guy's disgraceful. I mean, you embarrass your family. Take that shit to a hotel room in private if you need to play grab ass with a 20-year-old grandpa. But the public nowadays, we live in an intolerant society, and everybody who's on Twitter, of course, is perfect. And so that's why I don't belong to Twitter, because I'm not perfect. And when I am, I'll pass judgments on these things.
I don't like him. I grew up, I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, lifelong Buckeye fan, right through the Tressel era. And even that Luke Fickell season where, he had a thankless job. He goes 6-7. They hire Urban Meyer. I was a big Tressel fan. I'm from Lake County, Ohio. He grew up in Mentor, Ohio, home of one of your first co-hosts here, Mike Golick. Mike and Bob Golick.
That's right. Good memory on your part.
In the same town there, in Mentor, Ohio. I lived in the next city over, Willoughby, Ohio, who now proudly boasts the exploits of Kareem Hunt.
Okay.
The one and only guy to come out of Willoughby, Ohio there. But, I stopped rooting for the Buckeyes. And I'm just a fan of the college football game. You and I used to go back and forth on Facebook all the time about the BCS, and I hated it because...
we had good battles.
It only took the top two teams, and sometimes and in the case of Alabama and LSU.
So do you admit your mistake now? When they go to 8 and then 12 and then 16, will you come back to me and say, hey, Bruce, if nothing else, I should have listened to you 30 years ago. I knew they would. That's what they're going to do. They're going to make the regular season meaningless. As far as Urban goes, listen, this guy's a piece of shit, all right? He goes to Florida. He's recruiting thugs, murderers, gangbangers. He knows these are bad people. The heat starts to come, and all of a sudden he has to retire or his brain is going to explode. He goes to Ohio State. Same thing. Wins. Can't knock his coaching.
Not at all.
Can't knock his Saturday. Can't knock him on Saturday, okay? So it's the other 6 days. Same thing. Starts bringing in some bad kids, trouble. Oh, guess what? If I don't quit today, my heart's going to explode. I got to retire today. So I think the guy's a piece of shit. And that's why I want him to stick around and fail and get fired. But I want him to get fired for what he will not do on the football field. I do not believe that his personal things are any of our business. And I'll say if they fire him in Jacksonville, then you better go fire half the locker room. Or half of your employees that are cheating around. Otherwise, you're a flaming hypocrite. So we'll see how it ends.
Speaking of coaches getting fired, Louis Rojas out after 2 seasons in Queens, 103 and 117. I have it written.
It ain't good.
It ain't good. But, I wonder, they were in first place for 103 days here in 2021. He was hired, in kind of the same way that Mike Shula was hired in Tuscaloosa, to circle back to the Mike Price thing. Shula had success right away, taking over a program that was in shambles after Francione left them for Texas A&M when they were about to go on.
Good old Chaser Buck Fran. Oh, yeah. Listen, I'm not the typical sports fan. I always use this saying, okay? If you ask 10 sports fans after the game, especially football, but it's all sports, why'd you lose?
Fire the coach.
8 of them will say fire the coach, and the other 2 will either say the refs screwed us, we came out flat, and the broadcasters hate us. I'm not a fire the coach guy. We're going through 2 men. We're going on our 3rd manager here, and everybody, not me, fire the coach, fire the man. Terry Collins. The guy got us to the fucking World Series. Shut up. I don't care if he's 162. He wins games, but the whole thing with Matt Harvey and the Royals, and I thought it was the right decision to leave him in, okay? The guy's dealing, a 2-hitter after 8 innings?
And you were a big Harvey fan back then.
Big Harvey fan, and he was lights out in the 7th and the 8th. I'm not one of these guys that jerks around. I don't play this stupid Stratomatic baseball with real, the sabermetrics. But all these, fire the manager. Okay, guess what? We fired him. We brought in this bozo who's really a slime, is this Mickey Callaway.
He was our pitching coach for the Wahoo Warriors.
Callahan or Callaway? I always
Callaway.
get it. Okay. And he turned out he sucked as a manager. I watched that guy. I was here for a Diamondback game. This is Polar Bear's first year, okay? He broke the major league record for home runs in his first year. So the Mets come to town, and this dope decides to double switch the Polar Bear in a 2-2 game in the 6th inning. Wait a second. You're taking your best bat out of a 2-2? He sucked. Now, Rojas, too many times. Give me Diaz. What are you fucking doing? The guy's horrible, man. He can't pitch in pressure. You got to get rid of him.
It was like Kirk Gibson going to Heath Bell during the Heath Bell experience.
It's just ridiculous, man. So I say to myself, would I have fired Louis? No, I would not. I'd give him another year. He didn't take a wrecking ball to Jacob deGrom's elbow. It's not his fault. He didn't take a wrecking ball to Noah Syndergaard. And I could... But I don't do excuses. Do I think he's some brilliant tactician? I haven't seen it. But I haven't seen where, frankly, the players have lived up to their paychecks. And I'm not a blame the manager guy. Now, if it turns out you turn around and you go get, I don't know. I'd like to get an experienced guy instead of going first-timer again. But I'm not... what I really like is someone, frankly, I've really taken a liking, even though I don't care for the team, Brian Snitker. I read a great piece about this guy. Some people will call him a dinosaur. What I'll call him is in touch. He doesn't give a fuck from his Princeton idiots up there in the sabermetrics, okay? What a guy hits on Tuesday before 8 p.m. on grass in slight rain, okay? Here's what he cares about, winning baseball games. I'd like a guy who's not beholden. These guys, these young guys, they come up and basically all they are is puppets, and the general manager is calling the shots, okay? That's what happened with Callaway in New York. The general manager was basically telling him how to fill out the lineup card and all that. Well, hey, if you're so fucking good, then you put the uniform on, you get in the dugout. These guys are too beholden to ridiculous analytics, and Princeton do not win baseball games. Look at our franchise here. It's a fucking mess.
They don't develop anybody here.
Look at this. A couple of years ago, the hitters are complaining, right? Launch angle this, drop this. The hitters complained. Then the pitchers started to complain. Mad bum, right? Now the fielders, I can't be playing third base, right field. You cannot. Tampa Bay is a shooting star. It's not going to last, okay? Hey, look, good for them, but I'm rooting against them. I don't like the way they do it. And my information tells me this team wants to build a team like the Rays. Well, fuck that. Build a team like the Brewers, okay? Build a team like the Cardinals. They're not big spenders in free. Okay, you don't want to go out and pop 30, 35 up? No problem. But when I hear you can't afford Paul Goldschmidt, what the hell are you talking about? So if you're telling me,
absolute face of the franchise, other than Randy Johnson,
absolutely
the 20,
the greatest position player, arguably, to ever play for this team. So if you're telling me you can't afford him and he makes $25 million, and I realize people laugh at that, but that's a good price today for a star, right?
Most definitely.
If you can't afford $25 million for your best baseball player, you probably ought to sell the team. But my information is they want to build a team like Tampa Bay. First off, they don't have a GM because Mike Hazen sucks. He's no good. Okay, his trades have been a disaster.
Wait, we can't just follow the Phoenix Sports model and hire people out of Boston and expect great results?
No, and you know what's so funny? I mean, this guy, have you ever seen a guy trade your three top? Okay, you want to rebuild, you want to retool, whatever you want to call it. You want to trade your best players? You trade Marte to Miami, Goldschmidt to St. Louis, and Greinke to Houston. You get back 10 players, literally, and not one of them has done a damn thing worth a dime so far in the big leagues.
Are we supposed to hold our breath on Seth Beer?
Well, you could hold your beer on Seth Beer.
Right on. Right on. Let's get to some of the other stuff going on.
Sorry, man. You start talking ball, and I'm all in.
Yeah. All right. So we got Garrett Cole and Nathan Eovaldi. He actually played for the Yankees at some point.
I think he's got some bad feeling for them.
Oh, really?
I didn't do more research because I really don't care. But he was there 2 years. He had a great year his first year. He was 9-8 his second year, and I think he left with animosity and always vowed he'd stick it to him. Having said that, I don't like Garrett Cole. I hate the Yankees. I'd root for ISIS before I rooted for the Yankees. If I were betting the game, and I'm not going to, I don't see how you could pass on Garrett Cole at even money.
He's there to win Game 7, and this is effectively a Game 7. Yeah. And it's Yankees Red Sox.
Now, he's gotten hammered. His last 2 starts ago, your Indians beat the shit out of him. He got booed on walking on. Then Toronto put up a 5 spot on him. So, listen, these dopey, he always wanted to pitch for the. No, he didn't. He wanted the $340 million, and you're the idiots who gave it to him. I hope Boston wins. Look, if I were betting the game, I could not pass on even money with Garrett Cole versus Nathan Eovaldi.
See, I like the Rays over Boston, but I like the Yankees over the Rays. So these games are very pivotal. I think I have kind of the same opinions on the other side with the Dodgers and the St. Louis Cardinals. Now, these winning streaks in September, I lived through one with my Indians a couple years ago.
Yeah, you had the modern day record, 26 wins, right?
22.
22. I'm sorry, 22. That's the modern day record.
Yeah, well, and the Giants had a tie. The Giants back in 1910 won 26.
I said I know you weren't here, okay, and I'm damn old, and I wasn't here, so I'm talking the modern day. The Cardinals with their 17 is the third highest in the modern day. Not teams named the Boston Bean Eaters, okay, and all that stuff. So, I really like the Brewers. I really hate the fact that their setup guy decided to do whatever dumb thing he did, because now you got to reconfigure.
Williams, punching the wall.
Not Williams. Is it Williams? Devin Williams, right? Okay, I'm sorry. Yes. So, did he punch a wall? It never came out what he did hit. He did not hit a person. So, good for him.
I think I put 2 and 2 together with it, like when Ray Rice is dragging his fiancée out of the elevator.
Yeah.
I didn't need to see the second video.
Okay.
I know what happened.
You know what? He hit something, and chances are, and the wall is still unbeaten from what I saw. Now you gotta take Boxberger, who we know here is shaky, and now you got to move him to here. So everything has to be moved. Having said that, I am leaning to Milwaukee versus the White Sox.
I like Chicago's pitching. I don't like the White Sox. Of course, I live with a Cub fan.
I know you don't.
And when we got together, Jen and I, right after the 2005 World Series. So the White Sox are defending champions. She's 3 years removed from the Bartman incident. She's down in Wrigleyville that night, not in the ballpark, but down in Wrigleyville that night. So it was like we kind of came together on. I hate the Chicago White Sox. She's like, I too hate the Chicago White Sox.
Well, I can understand.
Maybe we should get married. And 14 years later, here we are.
You got kids?
We do not.
Okay, I was going to say, who do they root for?
So they would root for the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Okay, that's good.
And I think that, and I tell my friends that are transplants that have children, it's only fair to send these kids to school where they're, not rooting for mommy and daddy's team, but rooting for the team that their friends root for. And we could, I could take you down to a Diamondbacks game. I got to get on a plane to take you to Wrigley Field or to whatever the hell.
Wrigley, I love. I've been there. It's my favorite. It's my favorite arena / stadium that I've ever been in. It's just.
Have you been to them all?
No, I'm not like you. Now, listen, would I like to be more like you and visit these stadiums? Yes, but I'm not. And no, I've not been to many, actually, and a lot of the new ones. I've been to some of the old ones at Dump in Philadelphia and a number of others. But
Philadelphia, Cincinnati, Cleveland, all those multi-purpose stadiums that, become defunct since really, Reisdorf builds a new stadium for the White Sox, keeps it kind of cookie cutter with the ballpark plan. And then you have Texas, Colorado, Cleveland. They build these funky, dimension ballparks, and the White Sox are left behind. Nobody built a new ballpark for like 30 years.
That's right.
Before 1990, the White Sox build kind of the same traditional ballpark.
Yes.
And then everybody else builds these trendy places to not see the game, but be seen at the game.
Listen, I think the White Sox are an excellent team. A little bit. I'm not a big Tony La Russa. I was never a big fan of his. I won't run through a list of reasons, but the fact that the media decided to beat this guy up, and pile on unmercifully, too old. Yeah, well, guess what? You're wrong. And I like his talent. He's got great positional talent.
On the bench, not in the front office.
No, I'm talking about on the field. I mean, he's got a slew of young players. And, I kind of like Tim Anderson. A lot of people think he's somewhat of a goofball. But, hey, that goofball can play for me. Got exceptional pitching. I will not root for Tampa. I don't like the way they do business. I'm not into that micro analytics stuff.
I think they're better off now than the early days of the Devil Rays when they were signing Canseco and
Yeah. But have you seen the way they use their pitchers? Look, let me just say this. What they do very well. I just don't like what they do. I don't like the way they do their business, okay? I realize their drawbacks, and I do think it's legitimate. The ballpark and this sort of thing, where a lot of teams cry about it and they're just fine. See the Diamondbacks. But I just don't like the way, and you know what the problem is that the more successful they are, the more people want to copy them, right? I don't want people to copy them. So I will not root. I'll root for anybody to beat the Yankees. So Tampa, Boston, I don't give a damn who it is. Like I said, I'd root for ISIS to beat the Yankees. Am I serious about that? You figure it out. But no, I think the White Sox are an excellent team. They might be a year away, but I'm going to go with the White Sox. The easy pick is the Dodgers.
They're not as good. I mean, they won 100-plus games, but they are not as good as they were in the 60 games.
Think about what you're saying. They're not as good, and they won 106 games. They're not as good, and they won 106 games. Kershaw, Bauer, Bellinger. You think about that.
Bellinger's not having a great year, though.
That's right. Well, he's not hurt, but he's not having a good year at all, okay? So I don't think they're as good, and they still won 106 games. I mean, that's incredible. So,
and they could be one and done.
They very well could be.
Do you think that's fair?
Fair? What does fair mean?
I think we're just trying to.
If you're asking me, do I like the wild card system? Yes. Is it the most ideal? Well, look, you can't play a series because you can't make other teams sit around. Their pitching will go stale.
I think you can get away with 3 straight games. Friday, Saturday,
think it's
Sunday.
Good for baseball to be a little bit like football in this regard. Is it fair? Well, I mean, the Mets lost to Mad Bum. He shut us out in the wild card game. Did I think it was fair then? No. But overall, fair. Fair is a word that what's fair to you is not fair to me. What's fair to me might not be fair to you, so I really don't know what that means.
Well, before when we just had the 4 divisions, before they implemented the wild card and the central divisions, we had, I really think this is why we have divisional play now, is because the Giants won, 103 games in 93. The last year they didn't have it. And this year's Dodgers have one more postseason game than the 93 Giants.
Whoever wins tonight, it's fair. Whoever loses tonight and tomorrow, it's not fair. So, you know what? Next year, be fair and win the game.
Win the game.
So, look, I'm not going to... Do I like the wild card game? Do I think it's good for baseball? Yes. Do the traditionalists... They complain too much, I think.
Here's what I didn't like, was you got... this exciting pennant chase. This is probably 04, 05. 05, it's coming down to the wire. Indians, White Sox, Yankees, and Red Sox. All three are eligible to have the best record in the American League, and at least one of those teams is going home. It was my Indians because they got swept by Chicago in that last weekend.
Amazing how these things never are forgotten.
Yeah, last weekend.
I'm there with you, brother. I understand.
But you look at the Florida Marlins. Florida Marlins have never won their division. They finally lost a playoff series last year when everybody made the playoffs, but they had no one say, the Yankees and Red Sox, they wouldn't even be, they'd be playing each other down the stretch and they'd be setting the rotation for the playoffs because they both knew that they were in a best of five series.
Which is why the second wild card was so imperative. Washington won the World Series out of the wild card a couple of years ago.
Giants, one of their three.
Giants, because they beat us in the wild card game. I think a wild card game is good for baseball, and if it's good for baseball, I'm generally good with it, because the game has changed, but it's still my favorite game. I still eat it and sleep it and drink it, and I'll watch Pirates and Marlins in September, okay, when they're both 27 games out. But
That's a tough sell.
I've got problems. I admit to it.
But I did go all the way to Florida in April and spent my Saturday night watching the Rays play the Marlins at the old Orange Bowl ground.
Yeah, but you were live. See,
oh, yeah.
I'll watch
we've
it on
seen
TV.
20 of the 30. We've seen 20 of the 30 ballparks. We haven't been to Target Field, and we've only been to Miami among the NL East and the AL East ballparks. So I still got to see Fenway. I still got to see that bandbox, the new Polo Grounds, which is the new Yankee Stadium.
Yeah. Have you been to? I'm sorry, I don't know if you did. Have you been to Citi Field?
Never. We haven't been east of Pittsburgh.
Okay, well, I'll say as a guy who basically grew up at Shea Stadium, that was my dump, and I miss it. Citi Field's pretty awesome. I mean, you can tell the difference between a sausage and a hot dog. You walk into the bathroom, and I have to walk through piss to get to a toilet.
So have you been to Oakland?
I have not, but that's what I'm describing.
Or Municipal Stadium, or the Vet.
Or ASU, or Sun Devil Stadium before they revamped the damn thing.
Yeah, let's talk about the Sun Devils real quick.
All right.
All right, so I thought that Herm got out coached up in Provo a couple weeks ago. I thought they made no second half adjustments after being a pretty dominant team in the first half with this independent that is kind of chasing down the. I'd like to see a Coastal Carolina BYU game at the end of this season, especially if Coastal stays undefeated, just to see how good these Group of 5 teams are. But you got Cincinnati as your Group of 5 team this year. I don't see them losing a game. I'm not sure how much of a resume builder.
Watch out, Temple. Watch out. I'm not saying they're going to beat them. Let down after Notre Dame. Temple beat who'd they beat this past week? A good team, Memphis. And they held them in the 20s, which you don't do to Memphis, okay? They score 40 like it's nothing. Watch out. Just watch out. Many teams have come off, and now they're ticketed. I'll say this about ASU. I love Herm. I love him to death. I think he's just awesome for the program. I don't think people can really understand financially what he's done. I mean, he gets places that no ASU coach gets.
Is that because of his staff, or is that because of him?
Oh, him. I mean, him. He's a preacher, man, and he preaches great. And let me tell you, when he's done, I want to run through a wall for the guy. Now, look, in fairness, Herm coached my Jets, and he got us to the playoffs 3 times in 5 years. When you do that as a head coach of the Jets, we'll put a statue up for you. We don't care if we get to the Super Bowl.
Does Rex Ryan have a statue?
He should. He should. Outcoached, I thought they played an awful game, and yet, if it's not for one play, as awful as they were, at a place that's really hard to play, they would win the game. That's how good their talent is. And then since then, they got better against a bad Colorado team, and they whooped Chip Kelly's ass in the second half. He didn't know which way to look. I think they're starting to emerge, and I think they're going to the Rose Bowl.
So which Stanford team do you think shows up on Friday? The one that beat Oregon and USC, or the one that lost to Kansas State and UCLA?
Ooh, and they were that Kansas State. Hey, I'm surprised. Listen, shows you what we know. Now, I didn't partake because they didn't ask me, but the media picked them to finish last. I mean, they play very smart positional football. Athletically, they cannot hang with the Sun Devils. So, look, I come back to this. And, I'm not sure. I think it'll always be in the back of my mind. If they play smart, ASU, and they don't commit a million penalties, 4 personal foul calls, 6 jumping offside. I don't think there's a team in the Pac-12, including Oregon, that has as good a talent. Overall. And I've said Jaden Daniels is overrated. But damn, he played a great football game against UCLA. I think they're emerging now after a very slow, slog-like start. And I think they're going to kick Stanford's ass, and they're going to do it with athletically. I don't think Stanford can stand up, and I think ASU will beat them and beat them soundly.
12-point favorite, you taking the points?
Oh, I would lay the points in this game. Yeah. Now I have a rule: never bet on the team that you root for, because you already the win is good enough. I don't need the cash.
And don't hedge your win by betting against your team. That's a turncoat move.
Yeah, that's dumb, right? Because at least I got some money. Well, you know what? I'd rather have the damn ring than the money. No, I think they're going to beat Stanford. I think they're going to beat Stanford pretty good this Friday. Again, they got to play smart. If they play smart, I don't see how Stanford will keep up with them athletically. I think ASU is better athletically than Oregon is. So I'm big on this team. I have been, and I want to be right.
Hey, you see that clock up there on the wall? It's been at 2:43 for about 3. But you know what it is? You know what it is, Bruce?
Look at that.
It's right twice a day.
That's right.
That broken clock is right twice a day. So
hey, listen, a lot of people will accuse me. Excuse me. You don't have a cough switch, man. What is up with that?
You got to get on Julian Allison about that.
You got to get a cough switch, man. Broadcaster must have headphones, which I travel with, and a cough switch. But anyway, it's your studio. Do whatever you want. Throw me out of here if you like. About ASU. People say I'm a Kool-Aid drinker, which is funny because, you know me. I've been called a hatchet in the past. If things are good... And as I've gotten a little older, okay, believe me, I'll still pull your heart out. But you know what? The problem is that people, you lose your credibility. Well, if a team plays well and you say they play suck, where's your credibility? And I'm rooting for ASU. Now, having said that, if they play horrible, I'll rip them to shreds. It does, you can't fool people. People aren't stupid, okay? They can see. But I don't think that's going to happen now. I think they're going to absolutely hammer Stanford. Remember, Stanford is coming off of an unbelievable win. So if anybody's going to have a little letdown here, I heard all week, you're going to play in the Rose Bowl. It was half full, and those half didn't even make any noise. The Rose Bowl, tell me what you think of this. The Rose Bowl may be the most overrated.
As a stadium or the game in January?
Overrated as a stadium, as a home field. I'm not talking about the Rose Bowl, okay? I'm talking about the Rose Bowl being used for everything else except for the Rose Bowl, okay? Because you know why? You get people that come from Wisconsin and Penn State and Columbus, crazy people, right? And so they make a lot of noise. But the Rose Bowl you think of all the hallowed buildings, arenas, stadiums. This may be the one that absolutely means nothing. I mean, seriously, I heard the hot dog dude in the 7th row offering hot dogs to these UCLA fans. I think ASU is primed for a game, and if anybody's going to have a letdown, it'll be Stanford, and I don't think they will. They're good. They're physical. They always bring a high IQ to the game. They very rarely beat themselves, but they don't have the speed to compete with ASU, and they will get whacked.
And I think that Trainum and White, what they are able to do, they help Jaden.
Don't forget Nagata now. In that BYU game, they were dead and buried. And then what did they do? They pounded him 8 straight times, and they scored. And if it weren't for that play on the sidelines, okay, that great play by BYU hustling, I think ASU wins the game. So they go 3 deep, and they got a good offensive line. Their defensive line's a little shaky because 2 guys are down for the season, so it's a little shaky. I think their secondary is the best in the Pac-12. I don't think you can throw on them at will. And, I just want to see him take – hey, I'd like to see him because we know Stanford has a reputation. They're big. They're physical. You can't move them around. I think ASU will move them around.
That's interesting. You mentioned the Big Ten. Coming up this weekend, we got Iowa and Penn State.
Yeah, boy.
And it's the first time since 1997 that there is a Big Ten conference game between two top 5 teams, with one of them not being Ohio State.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Hey, I've told this story often. Growing up in New York, college football was not like it is here. I like college football. I love it now. To me, the best day, and don't call me on Saturday because I'm on my couch and I'm not leaving. But growing up, we got all the Boston College games, so I like them a little bit. We got all the Notre Dame games, so I like them a lot. We got all the Penn State games, so I like them a lot. And I've gravitated. I like U of A. I root for U of A. I'm not one of these. I do think you have to pick a side if you went to the school. But other than that, it's probably my favorite 12-week sprint in sports. And I do not have one team that I live and die with, like every other sport.
Me neither.
Which is really weird. But, go Penn State. I have designs on Penn State being in the playoff. And I wouldn't mind seeing Michigan get to the Rose Bowl. I will not root for Ohio State. You're an Ohio State guy?
Not anymore.
Okay.
Not anymore. I'm just a fan of the game now.
Okay, I'm not an Ohio State guy because I think if they lose 3 games, the committee still has a ticket for the playoff.
I think Ohio State with the young quarterback, I don't think Ryan Day is all that as a head coach.
You don't like him?
I don't.
Okay, fair enough. I want to see Michigan. I do root for Harbaugh, even though he's an asshole. Okay, he's an admirable asshole. The world needs assholes. If we had all nice people, what kind of world would we have? I want to see Michigan.
I think the key is not revealing that you're an asshole. Be an asshole, but you don't have to let the whole world know.
Well, then how are they going to know you're an asshole?
See, that's the point.
Well, no,
that's the point. You
want to be yourself. Harbaugh's himself. Okay, but even he's lightening up a little bit. He gets on social media a little bit more. I want to see Michigan versus ASU in the Rose Bowl. That's what I'm rooting for.
And we've had that. We had that back in 80. That's why Ohio State hired fucking John Cooper.
What year?
87.
Yeah, I moved here in 93. I want to see ASU and that game against Ohio State. I have said this many times of all the teams I've covered here, okay? And they're all, pretty good to work with in this. The most fun team I have ever covered was the 96 Sun Devils. You look at that roster. You look at how many NFL guys.
Was Roque still there for that team?
Roque played. He was a left tackle. Here's another thing. A lot of people, we all know about the great Pat Tillman, right?
Right.
What's the word? Pat Tillman is amongst the best of the best. Jeremy Statt never gets any love. He quit the Pittsburgh Steelers. And he was a decent defensive lineman to go into the Army, but nobody ever talks about that. Sadly, Pat, and we know what happened. But that team had Jake. It had Redmond. It had Roque. It had, and I'm going to forget some guys, but I'll bet you they had Rodgers rushing off the outside, the kid that was drafted by Miami. I will bet you that team, if you go back and look at it, had 15 guys that went to the NFL. 15 guys from ASU will go to the NFL, and I don't think many of them were just a joke. I think a lot of them had some impact in the National Football League. I'll tell you, the late great Bruce Snyder, really, really. And this team, if they had a little more depth at wide receiver, I would feel really, really heady about this team. As it is, I feel really good that they will win the Pac-12 and get to the Rose Bowl. And by all calculations, that is a hugely successful year.
All right, Arizona Cardinals, only undefeated team left in football. I think it's pretty legitimate after you beat the Rams on their home field. And nobody else is 4-0. Cliff Kingsbury, I want to like him. I want to like
what's your problem?
The style a little bit more. But I think he's got a great lieutenant in Vance Josephs, who Cardinals Twitter, hashtag Bird Gang, they wanted him out. They wanted Vance Joseph out because it's always what did you do for me lately? And
remember, it's always fire the coach.
And I'm going through the same thing with Joe Woods. Joe Woods has put together 2 great defensive game plans against Chicago and Minnesota and Vance Joseph all year long. I think a lot of it is the offensive line this year for the Cardinals. The additions that they made, particularly the guy they got from the Hudson.
Yes.
Yeah, he's been sensational, and you see a different Kyler Murray when I heard this morning that Kyler and Russ are scramblers and Lamar Jackson's a runner. And I think that with Kyler comfortable back in that pocket, especially second and medium, because you can run the ball with Edmonds, and you've got this receiving core that's that's workable. I don't know that it's great. I don't know that it's the best in the NFL, but I saw that first touchdown to AJ Green where where it's over his back shoulder.
Yeah,
he turns around. It was just a ball that was absolutely on the money. Veteran reception by AJ Green and Byron Murphy. Patrick who? I know that he played for the Vikings against the Browns, but I didn't see him do much.
You haven't seen him do much this year because no regrets on him leaving. I'm not as crazy about him as the diehard Cardinal fan. I mean, he's good. He was a good Cardinal. He probably deserves his name in the Ring of Honor someday, whatever they call it. But no, I wouldn't have offered him a new deal. Listen, on Cliff, when they hired him, I didn't like it. I don't like these clown offenses in college. Okay, it does not translate to the NFL. Ask Chip Kelly. It does not translate to the NFL. I don't care what the hell you call it, air raid, running. You can call it whatever you want, okay? It does not work in the big boy league, all right? That's the number one. Number two, look, I'm not a fire the coach guy, so I have never, ever. I thought his disgraceful, and this speaks to the quality of the team, his disgraceful, ridiculous field goal try in Jacksonville. Other Cardinal teams, as you know, they would have been done. He's lucky his team is really good. I don't dislike him. I don't like the fact that he never tells the truth. Like he thinks he's talking to a bunch of rubes.
Have you met the Cardinals media?
Some of them are good. Most, I'll roll with you. But look, I understand you're not going to give away the battle plan, but it's not Fort Knox. Okay, we're not the FBI. It's like he never tells the truth. Okay, like we're stupid. As a coach, hey, I don't sit there and pick and harp on every play. Look, who's getting paid to do the job? The coach? Oh, he's got to put us in the right positions. Well, you know what? The other team's going to try to get in the right positions too. When it's really an atrocity of a play call, going for first down in New Orleans at your own 30, in a Louds Dome, in a big game, stupid call. Look, if he wins games, I do think this team is legit. I had him pegged for 12, and unfortunately, and I normally don't do this, I listened to my partner, and he kind of talked me down a little bit, so I went to 11. Then Butler retired all of a sudden. I said, the secondary looks like, so I went to 10. But still, by the way, the Vegas number is 9, and yes, I'm invested, okay? No, I think they're really good. And here's the best thing. When the season started, I identified 3 areas of concern. Running back, big concern. I still think they're a little shy there. I know they had a big week this last week. Nobody fears Chase Edmonds as your feature back, okay? James Conner is wonderful for what he does.
He's like their Bettis.
I love him on the team. No one guy, watch this guy, no one guy puts him on the ground. And his story is great. I mean, look, when you beat cancer, everything else is simple, right? Football and when you beat an insidious disease, you have intestinal fortitude, guts, character, and all that stuff. So this guy is beyond reproach, which was the word I was looking for with Tillman. But not a feature back.
And he was a two-way player at Pitt. That's what.
Yeah, that's right. I still have concerns. My second concern was tight end. But you know what? If fucking Max Williams continues to play like this, I have no complaints. And here's the best thing. They are targeting him. Okay, before it was like, oh, God, there's nobody open. All right, I guess I got to throw it to you. He's doing a phenomenal job, and good for Kyler Murray. The third was the secondary, and you want to know something? This is the unheralded group on this team. You think about it, okay? I knew that Byron Murphy was coming into his own. Now, could Alford stay on the field? I mean, he didn't get hurt doing football things. He got hurt with freak injuries. We had Butler at the time. But some of these young kids, okay, we know about Budda Baker. He's an all-pro, right?
Right.
But some of these young kids, the Wilsons, the Thompsons, the Hamiltons, they're all making plays. I think Vance Joseph is doing a fabulous job. I think this team is legit. I do not think they'll win the Super Bowl. I'm not gonna come on here and say, hey, but do I think they're a legitimate football team? And you better take them. Hey, Kyler Murray, man, you know this. Last year and the year before that, okay, they'd go to break. He'd come off the field. He'd sit on the bench by himself, a little sulking. Now he's working his players. He's doing Tom Brady and others too. He's working the sidelines. He's into it. Man, his maturity level. And sooner or later, if you really want it, you're going to grow up. And, he has grown up, and he's still just a kid. I mean, he literally is a kid. He's, 22? I dig him, and I dig this football team, and I dig defense. And I think this team is really good. Are they Super Bowl good? I mean, no, I don't think so. But, hey, prove me wrong. I'll be happy as pig and shit.
I think that I've seen a couple of teams that are Super Bowl good. The Bills, after their crappy second half against Pittsburgh in Week 1, they've just looked outstanding.
My wife is you don't know my wife, but my wife loves sports. Otherwise, I could never be. How could you be married? How could you be a sports freak and not, I don't like this? Well, I'm sorry. You go watch a Little House in the Bedroom then, okay? Whatever. My wife loves sports, but she really, 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 really loves the Buffalo Bills. So, therefore, I never had any animosity to them. But
they're kind of my sister team with the Browns. The Shores of Lake Erie.
Yeah. Listen, they're really good. To me, there's probably 6 legit teams, and then there's 3 or 4 on the. Buffalo is legit. I think Cleveland is legit. I know you probably...
Are they better than the Ravens? Because I've got the Ravens, the Cardinals, the Chargers, the Bills.
Yes, because their quarterback can throw when you have to throw. Okay, if Baltimore falls behind big, they're in trouble. Lamar is an unbelievable athlete. I mean, he might be the best athlete since Michael Vick. But you can't count on him to throw you back in a game. He's just not.
And we've seen it in the playoffs.
And by the way, they're tight end heavy and they're wide receiver light. And if Le'Veon Bell is going to be their start, he hasn't done anything in 4 years. Oh, I think Cleveland is legit. I'm not going to say Tennessee is out, but they have. I mean, you lose to the freaking Jets. Okay.
Well, once they figure out they need to give Derrick Henry the ball. I know that the Cardinals line stopped him early on, and then who is it? Vrabel. Vrabel is very stubborn to his game plan. I've seen that with him.
Wouldn't you be if you had his kind of success?
No, absolutely.
I mean, if you're married to your game plan and your game plan is getting you to the championship game and the game plan...
See, I just became familiar with this word when the Browns hired Kevin Stefanski because Freddie Kitchens didn't know that you needed to have a game plan and that you needed to stick to it.
I used to call him Freddie Bathrooms. It's one of my best nicknames ever because he coached like shit. No, I think Cleveland is legit. I think I think the Chargers are legit. I think... the Raiders may be legit, and if the Chiefs, as long as Patrick Mahomes is alive and breathing, they're the team to beat, in my opinion.
I get a little bit of that Dodgers vibe with them. I think that they got the championship. They get a little bit less thirsty. They lost it the next year, and they've struggled this year. I don't know that they're the best team in the West.
Here's the thing.
I think the Chargers could be the best team in the West.
They throw the ball. Hey, when you're doing it and you're piling up the points and you're beating teams by 35, but at some point, I mean, it's football. It's professional football. Teams are going to adjust to you. What they need to do is be a little more committed to the running game and find a running back that they're committed to. The kid from LSU is too small to be every down back, Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah.
But, no, listen, if Patrick Mahomes is breathing, that's the team I'm putting my money on because he's going to be the second best quarterback to ever play this game. Let me tell you something, man. If I could do it all over again, okay, I would be his chauffeur. I would be his cook. I love everything, and I literally mean everything about this kid is his face should be the face for young people to look at. He does everything well. He doesn't get anything handed to him. He goes out and he takes it. Let me tell you, I wish he was a Jet, okay? But
and they just fuck it up.
Well, that's probably true. He'd probably.
Look at Darnold. Are you angry at all at Darnold's success in Carolina?
No, I'm happy for it.
Good.
So I think that could be the. I think the Chargers.
Oh, they got to win. The Jets got to win.
The Chargers are legit. Okay, I do. I think they are legit. I thought their quarterback was going to be a bust. Usually, I get these things pretty good. I was dead wrong. He looks legit. And then in the NFC. I don't think there's anybody. I don't think the Cowboys are serious. I'm not into the Packers. I want Karen.
It's funny because I walked out of the Rangers game and the Cowboys were celebrating the Super Bowl.
Well, yeah, I know, and then so is my partner. By the way, I cannot root for the first time in my life. I can't root for the Packers. I will not root for Karen Rodgers and his antics. Tampa Bay, obviously. Tom Brady's still breathing, and I love BA.
That was a fun game on Sunday night.
And then the Cardinals, the Rams, not the Seahawks. The Seahawks are not. The Seahawks will be lucky to win 9 games. Their defense is atrocious. So I think there's 8 to 10 teams. And if I were gonna beginning of the year, I picked a rematch: Kansas City versus Tampa Bay, with Kansas City winning this time. But there's a couple of teams, and I think the Browns. The Chargers, watch out for these teams. They can throw the ball, but they defend. And I don't give a shit when anybody tells you can sit here all day with your fucking air raid and throwing it 9 times out of 10 downs. If you can't stop it, you can't win it. You better be able to stop it. And they can. And they're good. They're legitimately, Cleveland is legitimately. Now, they'll probably lose in the first round in the wild card game to the Jets, but, just kidding.
As long as they have all the receivers. They lost to the Jets.
Hey, dude, I was there. I was not there, but I was in front of my television set when Pick Your Nose Joe, a.k.a. Joe Walton, every time the cameras caught him, the dude was knuckle deep. Dude, get your finger out of your nose. You're embarrassing us, okay? That's number 1. Number 2, we're up 2 touchdowns on you guys. And this idiot, let me take that back. He's recently deceased. I don't like to talk ill of the dead. This bad football coach decides to do the old, we're going to run it up the middle 3 times. We're going to punt it back to them. They came right down and scored. Brian Sipe was your quarterback. We get the ball back, 2 minutes to go. We did the same thing because it worked the first time. We ran the ball right up the middle 3 times. You took us to overtime and you beat us. So you know what? You could talk about the drive and the fumble.
Well, that was the week before the drive. It was the double overtime game where Mark Mosley missed a bunch of field goals in regulation and kicked one in double overtime. But you guys were without Gastineau and you were without Ken O'Brien in that game. And that's...
Jeez, I wish we had more games where we were without Ken O'Brien.
That's sadly, 30 years...
We were up 2 touchdowns under 5 minutes. I don't care if it's exhibition. You should never blow a 14-point lead with 5 minutes to go in a football game. Ever. Ever.
And Bernie Kosar is a legend for winning that game.
Did I say Brian Sipe? Bernie Kosar, you're right.
It was his second year.
Bernie Kosar.
His rookie year, they were 8.
I should know.
They were 8-8, and Marty Schottenheimer was a great coach. It's a shame he never won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He takes them to the division championship. They go down to the Orange Bowl. They're up 21-3 on Marino at halftime, and then Marino does his thing in the second half, which is a rare, great playoff performance from Dan Marino.
I can't wait till you get old and you forget 1 or 2 things.
I've forgotten so much now.
I don't think so. I think your memory...
But it doesn't take a lot of recall to remember that your partner, just this very morning, was poo-pooing on Al McCoy. It sounded like he wanted term limits.
What was that, man? What was that? What was that?
Let me fill everybody in here.
Yeah, you go ahead and fill everybody. You throw my partner under the bus. Don't worry, I'm backing it up on the guy.
Okay, so Al McCoy, Phoenix legend. He's called the game for 49 years for the Suns.
Listen, he's Vin Scully. He's Chick Hearn. He's Joe Buck. I'm sorry, Jack Buck. To Phoenix, he's all of those people. Okay, he's at the top of the food chain. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
So he's this complete icon in town, and it's like Dodgers fans trying to push Vin Scully out for Joe Kelly or Ross Porter or Charlie Stein or whatever. So I took exception to that, and he's just, it's like these millennials, like, hey, you're old, quit your job. You've been making money for 25 years, quit your fucking job so that we can hire some kid out of high school.
I will say this, and I respect my partner, so I'm very careful, but I'm not with them right now, so I'm going to say it. If the Suns got a new color commentator, a new analyst on the radio, they'd be much better off because Tim Kempton's terrible. He's awful. But Al McCoy, hey, we should all be cohesive at 88, let alone doing basketball games. Has he lost a step? Well, fuck, he's 88. What the hell? But his step that he's lost, he had steps he could donate and still have a lot of steps. He's still great. And I thought, if he hadn't gone to 50, look, if the Suns were mediocre or terrible, I think he might have retired. But he's right on the doorstep of getting to call his first NBA championship. He's still got it.
All right, let me stop you there. You do not think that their window was last year and only last year?
No.
You look at the Nets, you look at the Lakers.
The Lakers don't have a player under 47. What the hell are they going to look like in April? Are you kidding me?
Put them all on the shelf. Yeah, because everybody makes playoffs.
Okay. Then who are you going to play during the regular season? You don't want to finish 8th. Remember last year, if they hadn't finished 7th, they wouldn't have had to play the Suns, and they may have gotten out of the first round. Oh, no, I don't think the Suns' window is closed at all. Would I say they're the favorites? I say they're one of the top 5 favorites. You know what? I think they've gotten a little bit better. They got JaVale McGee, who I'm not a big fan of. He's the kind of guy.
It's an upgrade from Kaminsky.
Well, I'm better than Kaminsky. But JaVale McGee will make a play on this end. You'll be like, oh, my God, I've never seen anybody do that before. And then he'll piss the ball away. So he's the kind of guy within 30 seconds who you want to hug and then you want to slap. Not literally. We're not violent people. No, I think they're a better team this year because Cam is 1 year older and Bridges. I'll tell you, the guy who I really think is ready to really is Cam Johnson. What he did last year, a lot of people will not give him his love. He came from North Carolina, and all he did was shoot from the outside. Another skinny, tall guy going to wake me up. I've seen this before. And now all of a sudden, he's accepting the defensive assignments against LeBron, Anthony Davis. Now, did he get mismatched? Well, fuck yeah. I mean, it's Anthony Davis and LeBron. But the kid kept his nose in the action and never, ever bitched about it. And I think he's gotten thicker. I think he's ready to take the next level. And if he does, then you might have some flexibility. And I'm not an advocate for maybe moving Mikal Bridges. No. Because you're not going to be able to keep all of them. As far as Ayton goes,
well, I think Cam Johnson steps up into the Jay Crowder
fan. Listen, I'm a big fan of guys who will accept a mismatch without bitching and crying about their numbers and all this stuff. And this is, what is he, 21? I mean, literally, he could be my grandson for heaven. No, not yet. No, I'm not that old. But he could easily be my kid, okay? And I have a lot of admiration. No, I think they're a better basketball team this year. Now, that doesn't mean, you know this, okay? You get to almost the end, and you have a great season. The next year, it's hard. So they may not win as many games this year. Their defense may not be as good because in today's NBA, they are rock solid on the in today's world. And today, the way the NBA today.
Yeah. Well, I think that Nuggets series was an anomaly. I don't think that they're a sweep better than
I agree. I agree. Listen, if Murray plays, they're not sweeping the Nuggets. You know that.
That's true. If
Murray plays, they're not sweeping the Nuggets.
And they committed to Michael Porter Jr. a long time. We saw Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who came out of that same draft as Ayton. And Robert Sarver's pussyfooting around offering Ayton max money. This is academic. You just do it. You build the team around it.
Okay, so 2 things. Number 1, you look at Ayton's numbers last year. I went and looked at them. Every category, every one, blocks, steals, rebounds, points, he was down in. Oh, he had a bad year. His field goal percentage was 12 points higher than it's been in his first 2 years.
It's a Chris Paul factor.
Hey. Okay, why should he apologize for that? Somebody's got to have the guy. But I think he's smarter. Remember when they started talking? Oh, we want the Ayton to shoot threes. Get the fuck out of here. Put him under the basket where he belongs. Don't ruin him too. Like Chris Stapps, Porzingis, or some of these guys that are fucking lazy. They're standing out there. No, I think Ayton's going to improve. I think McHale's going to improve. I think Booker. Listen, I'm the last of the when Booker, he's great. He's not great. I'm sorry. Scoring
He's a volume shooter.
Does not make you great. It makes you a great scorer. But what else you got? Okay?
You can't build your team around Devin Booker. We saw how shit
But
they were.
is now on the verge because he's a better ball handler. He's always been a good passer. He's a decent rebounder for his size. But what he has become is he has willingly allowed Chris Paul to lead this club. Listen, there's huge ego, okay? You talk, I want to be a leader. I want to be a leader. I want to be a leader. That's what everybody. These guys have done the smart thing. And let me say this, how I feel about Patrick Mahomes, that's how I feel about Chris Paul. I just think he's just so, whatever they say about him, the good things, multiply it by 3. He's so fucking great. I knew he was great. A lot of people, I said they went out and got Rubio, who sucks. Okay, a fucking leaf could blow by Rubio. I mean, this guy is horrible. You talk about soft. I could wipe my ass with the guy and it would feel comfortable.
They referred to him as an international superstar at Cavs media.
I remember when he was on the cover of SI as the next great thing. So I said, don't get Rubio. Go get Paul. Oh, not Paul. He's always hurt. Go get Paul. Well, I'm not always right. As long as I'm right more often than I'm wrong. Chris Paul, I worship Chris Paul. You cannot have enough Chris Pauls on your team and in your sport. They are good for your game. I love the dude, man. And I give credit to Booker, especially of all of them, because the other guys are younger, right?
Yeah.
It's not easy to step aside a little bit and allow somebody else. You know the old saying, if you got too many chiefs and not enough Indians, you're done. And they've allowed him to be the chief, and they've accepted their role because they have seen success. No, I think the window, listen, I'm not sure when the window's going to shut, to be honest with you.
I don't think it's them, though. I think it's the league around them that that makes it difficult for them to capitalize on a season that it will be unlike.
Well, they're now the hunted. They're not the hunter anymore. So they got to be prepared for that. I don't think they'll win. Would they win 57 last year? They may not win 57, and then come April, they'll be a better basket if they're healthy. Because Ayton, he's really, if he continues to accept and thrive in his role, and Cam Johnson continues, and Mikal Bridges, who I hear has been in the gym all summer and is ready for a bust-out year.
He just knows how to win. He's so humble, too.
Humble, great leader. Another guy, by the way, you remember at Villanova, he was the leader.
Oh, yeah.
And they won 2, I think. Didn't he win 2 national championships?
Yes, sir.
Again, it takes, in today's egotistical-driven NBA, for a guy like Devin Booker to say, yeah, all right, Chris Paul, you take the lead. Okay, I'm going to step aside a little bit. That is not a common thing in the NBA. Okay? Oh, I think this team is primed for. Now, as far as signing Ayton, do I think he's a max player at this point? I do not. But you know what? Here's the deal.
It's like
if you have leverage, you own the game, and he's got leverage.
It's like the quarterbacks in the NFL. Was Kirk Cousins the best quarterback in the NFL when he became the highest paid? So sometimes you just have to throw that money. And it's not my money, it's not your money, but it'd be nice to see Robert Sarver spend some of his own.
Listen, I do believe that Sarver, now, will he pay him and Bridges? Well, now we're talking something different. But and maybe I'm an easy, they say the easiest guy to sell to is a salesman. Have you ever heard that saying?
I have.
The easiest guy to sell to. And I'm a salesman. So maybe I'm being sold a bill of goods. But I watched Sarver last year, and I listened to him, and he was often on the business shows on CNBC. And I watched this guy. You don't see this from an owner all the time. He's calling himself a dope, an idiot. He's been wasting time. He finally got it right. I think his ego is big, and I think he loves the winning. Okay? Loves when he walks into a restaurant and everybody doesn't want to throw fucking darts at him. He loves that. I think he will sign Ayton in the end to whatever it is, whatever the max is. And that's a risk. Now Bridges.
No, aren't you betting against him by allowing him to become a restricted free agent? I mean, or is it going to be advantageous to the Suns to let another team do their negotiating?
Well, if he does become a restricted, there's always a fine line, especially with young people. They tend to take business personally. If you can separate the two, and it's hard, man. It's easier said than done, okay? If he becomes a restricted free agent, fine, no problem, because you'll match anything he gets. So I don't really look at it as, you got to sign him now, you got to sign now. There's a couple of weeks left. I don't know all the stipulations of the salary cap and all this. I'm not worried about DeAndre Ayton. First off, he doesn't know any place else but Arizona. He comes from the U of A. I know he's not from there. He's from Chicago. But you know what I mean? It's basketball. I think he loves it here. The fans love him. He's on a really good team with a phenomenal coach who drives him hard. In the end, I think it'll work out, and there could be some bumpy roads. What I want to see now is what are you going to do with Bridges? Because you're not going to have a Max Ayton, a Max Booker. Paul is not Max, but he's up again. He's close.
I mean, is there a viable transition from Paul to Payne for Payne to take over a contending?
Well, word is Payne is coming a little doughy. Okay, so we'll see. You got to worry about that. You get and everybody's telling you all off season how great you are and how great you are. And I think he got an extension. I'm not sure. So he might be a little bit out of shape. But I think they're really good. And the NBA is not my favorite sport. But this team, they're easy to root for. They're fun. They're good guys. Their coach is phenomenal. Again, as you get older, I guess, maybe, I don't know, maybe younger too, you read about these guys, for Monty to bounce back from what he had to go through. Hey, listen, you're not an average person. I mean, your wife and kid are killed in a car accident, I mean, we saw what it did to Gene Segura. Robbed him 2 years of his career when his son died. He was not himself for 2 years. Now he's great again, right? I don't know that I'd be able to hold it together. The easy thing to say is, he's just... You know what? I'm not so sure. For him to bounce back the way he... Hey, Monty Williams fucking turned down the Lakers to come to the Suns. End of story.
And he's got a great father-son relationship with Chris Paul. You could see it throughout those playoffs.
And you know what? He doesn't bullshit you. I can't say enough good things about Monty Williams. He should be Max. Okay? That's how great he is.
All right, we covered the Cardinals. We covered the Sun Devils. Diamondbacks, we'll see you next year. I guess we're going to have to wait for the Yotes to come to the East Valley before we have a long conversation because nobody gives a shit because nobody watches the midweek games out there in Glendale. It was the worst fucking idea in the world. And when they get them to the East Valley, people go out there for 10 Cardinals games a year. But if you want people at the Yotes game, you got to put them where their season ticket base.
Listen, I'm just going to say this because I've been blowing a lot of smoke here up a lot of people's asses. Because look, if you're good, you're good. Now I'll give you the truth about the Coyotes. They're an embarrassment. They're a disaster. Their new owner, I think, I'm not a fan of his. I think he's a hypocrite. Could be an anti-Semite. I think the president of the team is a joke. I mean, this guy's sitting there like he's running Disney World here. You can't even get a fucking team to the play. This guy said, and I quote, "We want to be a force in your life." My retort was, "You're not even a force in the Pacific fucking Division." I think this team is a major embarrassment to the state. This team never talks about winning. They talk about arena. What? Listen, I love hockey, as you know, okay? No fucking hockey team should ever get 3 arenas to play in. They're going to have as many arenas as they will playoff spots. This team is a fucking disaster. They had a miserable offseason. No, I'm not. You traded a goalie who was really the best chance you had to win every night. Now, did they need to clean some house? Yeah, they need to get rid of Oliver Ekman Larceny, as I called him, because he was stealing money. But you gave up Connor Garland, too. From general manager down, and I don't know how good or bad this new coach is. I've never, I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell, right? Good luck to him. I think Armstrong's got the chops. Whether he has the time, we'll see. I think their upper management sucks. I think the president of the team is fucking clueless. He should be president of business operations. I don't think he knows a fucking back check from a bounce check. I think listen, this guy, I'm not sure when he talks, I'm not sure if we're seeing the same thing. I think he sucks. He's a nice man, very intelligent, but he's terrible at his job. I'm not a fan of the owner. I think this team's a travesty. The best owner they've had is the NHL. That's when they went all the way to the Western Conference Finals. Yeah. And I think it's a travesty, okay? I think it's a travesty when a team who's been in this desert now for 27 years, I think they've made the playoffs. As my old partner Mike Golick used to say, coin this, if you miss the playoffs, you really suck. And if you get bounced in the first round, you suck. Mm-hmm. So they suck. They have only made it out of the first round twice, and once was this goofy bubble
where they were the 12th.
Nashville, right. Okay, fine, no problem. Look, and then they made it. And you want to talk about this ingrateful fucking franchise. They get a fucking beautiful arena. I don't care what anybody says. It's the wrong location. We know that. But the arena is great.
It is.
And within a year, you want out? Fuck you. You want me to fucking pay for it? Screw you. I'm sick of this team. And nobody wrapped themselves around this team like I did. That's just the facts. I'm sick of them. I wish them luck. Nothing against the players. Again, up to the GM. We'll see. I think they're really bad this year. They'll be lucky. The modern-day record for least amount of goals is 153. I don't think they'll get there.
They've always struggled to score. They bring in Ali joking it.
Yeah, because they've been weak up the middle. They've never been able to sustain. Kachuk. Okay, and then they had Craig Janney. They've had excellent wings. I think they've had overrated goalies. Overrated. I thought Javi Bulin was overrated. Don't tell me your goals against is 2.2 when you're giving up 1.7 in the first 5 minutes of the game. You completely take yourself. It's no different than Carson Palmer, for example. Not a big fan. Oh, Bruce, look at the yards. Yeah, because he throws 4 interceptions in the first half, so he's got to throw his team back in the second half. Javi Bulin, I thought, was overrated. He did win a cup. Kudos to him. Mike Smith was good here. Who's the guy who Boucher set the record for 6 straight shutouts, which is nobody.
But Sean Burke was the starter.
Sean Burke was good. Who's the guy who signed with Philadelphia? What was that dope's name? The Russian guy.
Brizgalov. Ilya Brizgalov.
Let me tell you, one of the best interviews I ever had was with his agent. When he left, before he made his decision to go to Philadelphia, or maybe right after, I had his agent on. And this guy's selling me like I'm watching the second coming of Patrick fucking Waugh, and this guy can't win a playoff game. You know what? And I'm not going to go as far, because I do care what happens in the regular season. But if you can't nut up come postseason, you really have no value to me. Yeah, I don't know if Kessel wants out. Nobody wants him at $4 to $5 million a year. I think this team is now, their defense may be a little bit better because they'll move the puck better. But other than that, this might be one of the worst teams we've ever seen. Now, they are really bad. They have no speed up front. They're slow. They grabbed every Vancouver Canuck who could not score. And I think it's going to be a disastrous year. And I'll tell you right now, be damned the person that's willing to put up tax money for another fucking arena for these people. Screw them, and their operation sucks.
Bruce Jacobs in Helly, 1580 The Fanatics, mornings, Monday through Friday. What are the exact times?
6 to 10 a.m., 1580, 99.3, 95.9 FM. And, look, we don't sit there and read the stat pack to you. We don't sit there and management doesn't tell us what we can talk. When what's his name again? President of the Diamondbacks, help me out there, Derek Hall. Yeah. When he comes on, he's laying down, I think Torey Lovello's done a great job, and and the hosts are just sitting there. Blah, 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 blah. I mean, I could never listen to it. Where's the credibility? But anyway, I'm off the beaten path here. 6 to 10, 99.3, 95.9 FM, 1580 AM, and our signal, as I've been told by management, I've been told a lot of things, so don't take this as gospel, just take it as hopeful, should be getting better and better as we move along here in the next couple of weeks and months.
I get you on the Echo Dot from my office. You know, I do have a 9 to 5, so I'm on days not like today. I am working for the back half of the show, and the signal comes through great. You just say, "Hey Alexa, play 1580 The Fanatic," and I got Bruce Jacobs, Dale Hellestray, and this has been Jeff Rich live from Phoenix. I want to thank my guest, Bruce Jacobs, and of course my man Julian on the other side of the glass. Have a great day, everyone.